Basketball fans, what is up? And welcome to another edition of the All Basketball Podcast. And once again, it's your host, Maurice Dixon, coming to you on the eve of July the 4th. And obviously, you guys know what time it is, what that means for the NBA. That means free agency is just started pretty much, or really, it's been underway for a few days. So, got a lot of movement. I wouldn't say anything as far as blockbusters, but definitely some noteworthy stuff. And I'll get into why I won't. And the reason I'll say I don't feel like it's really been any blockbusters is because even though there's some big names who have been moved, a lot of those guys are up there in age. A lot of questions come with still follow them to their new teams. But I would say probably the biggest one of them all and somewhat surprising was Klay Thompson being traded from Golden State to Dallas to join Luka and Kyrie. A few other new guys, Lively. They bring back Gafford. Some of the guys they already had coming to fill the void of shooting for that team. The Mavericks, who just came off, unfortunately for them, a 4-1 defeat to the Celtics in the finals. But yeah, so Klay joining those guys. That team relies heavily on a lot of pick and roll with Luka and Kyrie, and then from that penetration and creation, other guys kind of just spotting up. And Klay Thompson is the perfect guy to spot up. What is like almost a career 45% from three-point range. Up to this point, wasn't too bad last year. I think he was, get those official numbers in a second. I think he was career 41% last season, really close to 39%. So perfect spot up guy. Did that well during his 14 seasons. Was he drafted 2011? So yeah, 11 seasons in Golden State, 4 championships, 6 finals appearances. A lot of history there. Wearing the number 11. 5-time All-Star while he was there. Definitely one of their best perimeter and one of their best alongside Draymond defenders with Iguodala when they had him. So maybe another guy here or two, but I mean, wow, quite a career in the Bay. Now they're in San Fran. One of the Splash Brothers is gone. And it just goes like this sometimes. Everybody doesn't. A lot of guys want to finish their career in the same place, like a Tim Duncan, a Dirk, Magic, Kobe. A few other guys went their whole career, but mainly those notable guys. Reggie Miller. One other guy I'm missing who I wanted to mention, who was with their squad their whole tenure. I mean, just very, very few guys, and it's getting. It seems like that possibility is dropping even more with free agency and the way guys move around now. We'll see if Steph finishes his career with Golden State. It kind of looks that way, and maybe Draymond too. But only so many guys finish with one team, and so you can want to continue to play, even though he'll be, I guess, majority 34 this coming season at some point. So again, he turns 34 on. He won't be. I'm sorry, he is 34. So be 35 next February, so or this coming February. So and they said it came down to Dallas and the Lakers. I thought maybe Orlando had a chance. I thought that would have been a good spot for them. They needed shooting, but they probably aren't really in position for him to compete for another championship. And I'm pretty sure he wants to prove he can do it without Steph and Draymond. Why not? Go to a team who has two established stars, established scorers. Been right there. Been really close. Got really close this year. So why not go give it a crack and be the third option? I mean, I said it before on this podcast. I think definitely in the barbershop on text messages. Klay Thompson he's washed up as somewhat as a starter, but maybe he can still start, but definitely as a second option, like he was in Golden State for majority of his career. But these past few seasons, the drop off has been real. Just hasn't been able to. And his scoring average is the lowest it's been since his third season. So, and he's never been a boom. I mean, at the moment, he's 22 a game in 16, 17, but they have so much ball movement and sharing. And plus, on that team, it was Durant, 22 in the 15-16 season, and then their first championship 14-15 average pretty much almost 22. Shot 44% from three that year, and so numbers are pretty much in the ballpark. Field goal percentage has come down a little bit. 3-point percentage as well, but still very good, and especially at the rate guys shoot them in today's league. I mean, you if you're right between 35 and 40, that's pretty good. And he shoots. He's been shooting at least, let's just say the past 3 seasons, 9 a game. So hitting a little more than 3 here and there. So yeah, but I mean it's a good spot for him. I still worry about Dallas's defense. When you have Luka who needs to get more effort, Kyrie maybe more effort, but just maybe doesn't have the physical capability to an extent to really play really good defense, which showed against Boston. And now you have Klay, who was a good defender, but after that knee injury, and it knocked him out of the 20 season, and then the 21 season followed up with the Achilles injury. Takes toll. Took a lot from what he had to offer, definitely on defense. And so he's not the same player. They're not getting the prime Klay Thompson that Golden State had for a majority of his run, and definitely for during those 5 straight finals appearances. And so but it was a great run in Golden State for him. A lot of memories there, a lot of big shots, scoring all those points with minimal dribbles against Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Going crazy in Game 6 of the 2016 playoffs to help them tied that series with Oklahoma City, and then go on to win that series in 7, and before they lost to the Cavs in 2016, blowing that 3-1 lead in the finals. But yeah, for Dallas, him spotting up should be pretty good if he can definitely make most of them. I feel like he should really only biggest issue would be there'll be an adjustment period, but the biggest issue will still be their defense, the perimeter defense. But I think in this role he should do fine, and we'll see if he can be that extra piece that helps them get over the hump and get back to the tough Western Conference, because a lot of changes with this free agency period have taken place in the conference. But I always like Klay's game. Only thing only issue I have with him is in the 2016 finals when, man, I forgot to look at the play again, but I can pretty much see it in my head. J.R. Smith comes over, set the screen. Him and Steph just switch so easily into what Cleveland wants, and then you leave Steph to get rocked side to side and get the game-winning shot on him, hit by Kyrie. I mean, the switching defense sometimes it's just guys just. If J.R. Smith makes a shot from that far, give it to him. But we're not switching. I started out the possession on Kyrie. I'm staying on Kyrie. But that's all. It's in the past. There's nothing anyone can do about it. They can do about that. I can do about that. But only real gripe one little minor gripe I had with him and Steph on that play. Just so willingly switching when J.R. Smith came over there and just ran a little interference, and he switched off of Kyrie onto J.R. Smith, and then the rest was history. But I mean, he's had a solid career there. Now, word from a respectable reporter, and the guy's name is Anthony Slater, said that Klay Thompson went to Steph and said, "Don't go to the organization on my behalf. I just want to see what they want, see what they're what they're willing to offer me." And the organization seemed to stay true to what they did. When they offered him early in the season, or before last season, the 2-year, $48 million contract. He wanted an extra year. He's only getting a little bit more money with this contract with Dallas, but he is getting the player option for the third season. But I mean, I kind of feel him on that, and I kind of feel like, well, if you want to stay a Warrior, keep the Splash Brothers together, just ride that thing on out. Have Steph go to bat for you. Let your pride, push your pride to the side, because they kind of showed you who they were, what hand the organization, what hand they were dealing, and it was kind of a foregone conclusion, but that's in the past now too, and we'll have to see about how it's going to adjust to being with the new team. And as far as Golden State right now, you don't get back a second scorer in the trade. They're expecting things from Podziemski. We'll see what they do with Wiggins. They didn't want Levine, but they might have to give in to that. We'll see. And it's going to look real different next year in San Fran for the Warriors. I mean, Draymond's not a scorer. I'm just looking at their roster. I don't see a reliable second scorer at the moment. Someone will step up. Maybe Kuminga's take a step up. Maybe Moody, some of those guys they've had for a while, and see if they still want to ride it out with them. But Wiggins is falling off. I don't know what's going on with him. They're trying to move him. Now, at this moment, I haven't heard anything about. I did see that there's interest around them making a trade with the Sixers for Buddy Hield. So that'll give them definitely some more shooting, but I don't know about consistent enough shooting, offensive punch to keep up with other teams, even though they still got Steph and some other guys. But I don't see Hill being a reliable number two. Definitely have to be a collective effort. But yeah, man, I mean, I kind of thought they would ride it out like the Celtics of the 80s and just Mikal Bird type thing. Parrish did end up leaving, but Mikal and Bird stayed with the Celtics the whole way and just retired. But not so much for Klay and Steph. Klay Thompson, now a member of the Dallas Mavericks. Another big free agent move was also out west. a guy coming back east. That's Paul George leaving the Clippers and signing signing a 4-year deal with the Sixers, who have Embiid, who just paid deservingly paid Tyrese Maxey. So it's a nice big three to an extent, if you want to look at it that way. Kind of more so see Paul George being the second/third option, depending on Embiid's health. Because Embiid should be the first option, but as history shown, he's going to miss games, so you have to count that in. Maxey taking a step forward, so I think should be more of a second option. I think Paul George being that third, in that position at the third option, is probably the best thing for him. He's 34, so he's not young, older, not old yet, but it's coming. 23 points a game last year for the Clippers. Stats pretty much were on par with his career averages only. And he played 74 games. So that can be looked at optimistically to an extent that maybe he'll be healthier now, because when he got to the Clippers in before he got to the Clippers, he got back pretty healthy with Indiana and OKC. Then his first 4 seasons with the Clippers, the 22-23 season, when he played the most games of 56. So, not a great injury history. Yeah, 74 last year. And as someone mentioned, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it was interesting how they pointed out that when it's a contract year, Paul George gets really healthy. 2018-19, before he got traded from OKC, played 77 games. And then 48 the next year, even with that was with the COVID break. And then this year, contract year, 74. So for his sake and for Philly's sake, hopefully he stays healthy, because this could be him and Embiid out there. You just have Maxey out there with Kelly Oubre and a few other role players. I think they got Eric Gordon. We'll see what they do as far as Kyle Lowry. I know Tobias Harris is gone. But there a lot of ifs, a very big if with this team. We'll see if at least Paul George can push them to the conference finals. He did it in LA. Maybe he can at least do it in Philly, but they're so eager to get. Embiid, all the playoff games he's played, still hasn't been past the second round, and he's always hurt. Got hurt last year. Unfortunately, he had Bell's palsy as well. And then other times he just had small game. He had played besides small game James. You know how that is going to end up. Ben Simmons, who's now a shell of himself. Just guys who, when the moment gets big, the lights get bright, just don't have what it takes mentally to step up and perform at a higher level. So Embiid's kind of got the short end to stick on that. But then to his own criticism is that all the foul hunting in the playoffs, the way the game slows down, his points per game drop off, his shooting percentage drops way off. It's like, what's going on? Is he hurt? Is he tired? So so he has to take some of that blame too. Whether he can't help being injured, but you can help you can stop settling for jumpers and trying to bait for fouls and really get in the post and be effective, get that field goal percentage and that scoring average up to about what it was. Because in the playoffs, superstars, your stars are expected to take those averages and those percentages up even more, and he hasn't done that. But now they have a three-headed monster of him, Maxey, and George to do it collectively. That can maybe propel them to new heights. But yeah, so I like the move for Philly, but I'm still very skeptical with other teams like Boston just showing they can stay healthy. Definitely their core guys. New York for the most part. I feel like good chance Milwaukee will be healthy next year. I think this is one of them off years for those guys, unless Dame is really falling off to an extent and they don't get the right pieces around Giannis, more athleticism, more better wing players. So, but Philly should be right there in the mix to threaten Boston. As far as the Clippers, re-signed Harden, re-signed Kawhi, so they chose Kawhi over George. And that's a tough one because this guy, Kawhi, I mean, the past two postseasons, he's played 4 games. Harden, he's not going to get any better. He's up there in age. They brought Batum back. Added Derrick Jones Jr. Still got Norman Powell, so they're going to look a little different too, and we'll see how. And go into a new arena, so you got to spend the money you want to have or draw. So Harden and Kawhi still gives you a pretty good draw if Kawhi is healthy. Played most of the season last year, but playoffs again, just gave those guys 2 games. So don't see it being very optimistic there for the Clippers. But now I want to get into this crazy how this. So before the 1920 season, it was exciting. Kawhi just came off the championship with Toronto. They're wondering if he's gonna go join Davis and LeBron with the Lakers, but he wanted Paul George. The Clippers were able to make the move. Trade Shai Gilgeous. They got Paul George, and so you have him and Kawhi joining a team that has some pretty good role players already, in like Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, and other guys. Stick in Paul George and Kawhi. This team should be right there to move up in the standings and maybe win it all. Kawhi just proved he can win it outside San Antonio. But the furthest, the bubble may have messed up their momentum, but they blew that 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the conference semifinals, and then they were to match up with the Lakers, and they seem to match up very well with them. Lakers might not have that 2020 title, but those 5 seasons, those guys, a bunch of it was just crippled by a bunch of injuries from George and Kawhi. The signing and the extension just didn't work out. But for the Clippers' sake, the organization's sake, they got to their first ever conference finals. So they did reap a pretty good benefit, but not the one definitely they were hoping for. Hoping to, get to the finals. Kawhi get them to the finals, and having George and having the pieces you need and defenders on the wing and enough size, and they got to the conference finals. And when they got to the conference finals, Kawhi didn't even play. Then they ended up losing a pretty good competitive series to, pretty sure in 6 to Phoenix. And I guess the interesting note on that is that even though they had more seasons, Kawhi and Paul George, the trio of Durant, Harden, and Kyrie in Brooklyn, for their short time together, everybody just knew it was definitely be in the finals. Unfortunately, Durant's toe was on the line. They couldn't advance past Milwaukee in the second round, and this Clippers rendition of the Clippers, even though they had more time, got a little further than Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, who everybody expected to be in the finals. And yeah, it was short-lived. You had a bunch of stuff getting away like COVID, and then Harden won out, and pretty much everybody won out, and then having to fire Steve Nash, and it was just a big disappointment. But it's interesting to know that out of all that, the Clippers got a little further than that collection talent the Nets had. Other moves, well, I guess staying the East with the Knicks, they trade for Bridges. So now everyone, the saying's going around. You got the Nova Knicks, so you got Bridges, Hart, Brunson, and DiVincenzo. So all those guys played at Villanova together, and then they re-signed OG Anunoby. So, and when he was in the lineup, they were a problem. They were a very good team, very high winning percentage. So you got those guys adding a little more depth. Now they did lose Hartenstein, who signed with OKC, and so they have to depend on Mitchell Robinson. But he's usually not healthy. So then they'll see what they do. And they have Randall, but the team played better without Randall. Randall's had issues in the playoffs. I mean, wasn't a one season thing. He's kind of I'll just say he field goal percentage, scoring output falls off, and playoffs come around, Brunson steps up. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the Knicks figure out what they need to figure out, because they're definitely should be a threat to Boston. Definitely could finish in that second spot again or even higher. It's just a matter of, I guess they keep Robinson, but how often can you depend on him not being out of the lineup due to injury? And so are they gonna play Randall at center? I mean, it's possible in today's game. If you just focus on being more of a post player down there, but you just project the starting lineup, you definitely got Brunson at the 1. I would probably say put Bridges at the 2, and Anunoby at the 3. Or move those guys down to you keep DiVincenzo in the starting lineup. But I mean, you have to start Bridges and Anunoby. So unless you put, now you can put Randall at the 4, have Hart come off the bench, but he seems to be a coach's favorite. I mean, and he played like almost every minute, but they didn't really have options. At least Thibodeau believed that, so Hart played every minute. So, or do you leave him in the starting lineup? And if you do that, then that may push Randall to the center position, or now you push Hart to the bench, then I can see that kind of making Randall at the 4, Robinson or his substitute at the 5. So, and then when it comes down to clutch time, closing time, maybe play Randall a little more at the 5 if they keep him. But it's gonna be interesting to see what that front office decides to do. Nothing's out there yet, but make a trade him. I don't know what you trade him for. Well, I guess you trade him for a dependable, reliable big guy. But there aren't many out there. Let's see. Portland. First thing comes to mind is Portland with Ayton, and since they just drafted Klingon, you got Ayton, you got Robert Williams, kind of a log jam there. You don't really need both of them. So maybe something like that, just off the top of the dome with that one. But we'll see how they go forward. Now, like I said, Isaiah Hartenstein signing with OKC. I think that's a major move for them. They get some much needed size for those teams in the West. Players like Jokic, Anthony Davis, Lively, Sabonis. You got quite a few Towns and Gobert. So much needed size to help out Chet Holmgren. I think they should start him, and you put Holmgren at the 4. Then you move Williams to the 2. You have Dort at the 3, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the 1. I like that lineup for starting and finishing games. I guess then but they did get the big transaction with Caruso. So but if you start, you have to play him in certain points in the game. So maybe you start him and bring Hartenstein off the bench. They have some things to figure out. Their upgraded shooting guard position, I think, for Orlando. Getting Caldwell Pope from the Nuggets. Surprising the Nuggets lost Caldwell Pope, but I guess like with them and the other team, with say Golden State, some of these teams have to cut salary or do certain things because those aprons you guys have been hearing about, and I was thankful. Shout out to and thanks to Hancock for showing me a short video and having a guy explain it a little clearly. He explained it to me too. He was pretty clear on his explanation, but I mean, you're going over the salary cap. A lot of teams do it. Those teams that do it usually end up winning the championship, so that's not an issue with that. But when you go past what they're calling that second apron, it locks up a lot of stuff you can do, and they're trying to keep these teams from stacking the deck. And as Hancock was telling me, what Golden State did in 2022 when they won that last title, these aprons, what they did was going to affect in this next collective bargaining agreement would have prevented that. So, I mean, it's going like with Boston. They just paid all their guys out. Doesn't come into effect next season, but after that, they're going to have to make some decisions or just roll what they got, because you go past that second apron, there's no wiggle room. But, so Caldwell Pope going to help Orlando, a young team, up-and-coming team. Paulo Banchero showed a lot last year in his second year. You're putting Caldwell Pope next to what's the point guard's name? I see his face from Gonzaga. I can't call his name right now, but good. Is it Suggs? That don't sound right. I think it's Suggs. But good defense, good spot up shooter for them. They need some help on offense, the shooting, so he kind of helps out with that. So see Orlando keep going in the right direction with that young team. Wagner should come back better. They re-signed his brother, Franz Wagner I'm talking about. They re-signed his brother, Mo Wagner. And so re-sign Isaac. Hopefully he stays healthy. Jonathan Isaac, good guy there. Fellow brother in Christ. It's always good to know you have a guy like that in the league. Jalen Suggs what I'm talking about. So you got him and Caldwell Pope in the backcourt. So defense, good defense right there from those two positions, which is very important in today's game. And we'll see how it plays out with them. See if they can keep moving up in the standings. I won the playoff series last season, and then no, I'm sorry, they won 7 games with Cleveland, lost to Cleveland in the first round, but you gotta take your lumps, and that was see if they can keep going forward in the right direction with a few adjustments to the roster. Before the draft, before free agency started, had a trade. Not only a trade between the Knicks and the Nets, but a trade between the Pelicans and the Hawks, with the Hawks sending DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans for Larry Nance and some other stuff. Some people were upset. I saw on social media upset about it, or what. Some people weren't what the Hawks doing. Maybe it's a rebuild. Maybe they're looking to trade Trae Young next and get more picks for the future and say a better draft. They had the number 1 pick this year. Got Relocation out of France. Definitely a project. You had Sarr, a center they may have been in need of getting, but he didn't want to play there. So I guess it's just a crapshoot with the draft. So you just hope they're just hoping they, even though they're saying it's a weak draft or it's a role player draft, it's always one player in the draft. I wish I want to go look more into that, but I feel like there's always a diamond in the rough somewhere. Hey, Giannis was selected 15th back in 2013, and 2014. Let me get it. 15th overall of that 13 draft. And number 1, that was Anthony Bennett. You had Oladipo, Otto Porter, a bunch of role players, but you had McCollum in that draft, who's still in the league. Steven Adams, so Schroeder. So there's always a guy in there, but you just have to hope you pick that guy. And unfortunately, most time for the team picking number 1 doesn't pick that guy. It's usually, in that specific case, Giannis was the best player out of that draft, and he was 15th, but nobody knew. So, so we'll see how these players pan out in this most recent draft. A lot of projects, but somebody's gonna make a GM look good. There's always somebody. So even though it may be considered weak by scouts and whoever else, there is always a diamond in the rough. But with the I think this trade helps the Pelicans. I guess McCollum may start coming off the bench. He's getting up there in age. If they don't move him, but we'll see what they do with the Pelicans do with Brandon Ingram. They lost Valanciunas. He wouldn't sign. Took the money, went to Washington. We'll see. So see how long he stays there. I know the Lakers had some interest in him, but I think LeBron had him on his list. But that's the move the Pelicans are trying to get a younger point guard in there. Hope Zion stays healthy. See if they keep Ingram or elevate Trey Murphy to 3rd. And for Atlanta, 2 years pretty much with Murray and Trae Young. They were a play-in team, so 500 record. You gotta, at some point, do something different. I think they are. We'll see if they just look to continue to build around Trae Young or give it another try with some of these younger guys like Jalen Johnson, and see how Relocation pans out. They still got Bogdanovich off the bench. DeAndre Hunter, if he can stay healthy. Okongwu. So maybe it's, we'll see. I think they're, when they did that, and when you see a trade like that, it's because the team doesn't have much leverage and they're trying to usually when you're trying to rebuild, you may send out more than what you're getting back, and definitely was the case with that trade for Murray going to the Pelicans. So Hawks may be about to blow it up. Maybe time. I mean, they. I know they agree when they pick, but to trade the pick with Dallas for Luka, but they had Luka, but they wanted to go with culture, and the trade was looking pretty even. I mean, even Dallas had a much better record for majority since they've been in the league. I mean, as fools go, when Atlanta got to that conference finals due to the Ben Simmons meltdown, even though Trae Young came up big and those guys came up big, and they ended up losing to Milwaukee in the next round, but it was kind of a fluke of a conference finals run. Dallas got to the conference finals. That was legit. Beat Phoenix, who had the best team that year in 22. Got taken out by the Warriors, made some improvements. Didn't make it last year. The pick they tanked for became Lively. He became a crucial piece in them beating Minnesota, beating OKC, beating the Clippers. Just wasn't enough to help them beat the Celtics, but they got to a final. So if Luka was here in Atlanta, it would be maybe a different thing. But when you pick the culture over winning, that's what you get. So, but the interesting free agency moves. Some other minor things. We'll see if Levine eventually gets traded. I saw that the Bulls are looking to unload him and Lonzo Ball, who's been injured his whole tenure in Chicago. And Levine has a injury history as well. Didn't play much last year, but they've been trying to trade him since during last season, but couldn't find the taker. We'll see if they eventually find the taker of say Golden State gives in, or maybe some other team. But it's crazy. I like Levine. Athletic and score, shoot the three. Pretty much at all three levels. Find him as a very exciting player, but can't stay healthy and really hasn't won anything. Just been kind of been able to put up stats on bad or mediocre teams. I guess they're also looking to see if DeRozan's moved, whether that's to the Lakers or some other team, Miami. So I think some more moves are in the near future. Probably won't anything tomorrow on the 4th because it's a holiday, but stuff is really about to slow down as far as free agency. You got summer league, so we'll get to see these rookies and other guys invited to play on certain teams in summer league. So you'll see some of that. I guess TBT, the basketball tournament, will be back around if you guys are interested in that. I found that a little entertaining. You got the big three, but then you got the WNBA, of course, and this is and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are. I mean, they're bringing in the eyes. And when I seen that voting disparity for the their All-Star game from this year compared to last year. A lot of people have been voting. And Asia Wilson was first last year. Now she's third behind Clark and Reese, respectively. So they have their controversy and people loving or hating Caitlin Clark or making a lot out of hard foul here and there, but they're getting the eyes they need to make the money. So we'll see if how it continues. Then you got the Olympics coming up next month. So Team USA with a good mixture of young guys and old guys. Our best, we'll see if they can bring home gold. See if Embiid, Curry, and Kawhi, and a few of those other young guys. But I know those guys have been in the league, and I'm pretty sure they don't have a gold medal. So, I mean, LeBron's on there. He has one. I think Anthony Davis has one. Um, you got Tatum, I guess, seeing his first. Halliburton, Drew Holiday, Bam. So we'll see how those guys go up against the world, because this could be the last real run of dominance. I mean, Canada's good. France has Wembanyama, and we'll see how those other young guys pan out eventually, who were drafted in the three. France had 3 in the top 6 spots. So it's going to be so you got that, and yeah, slowing down as far as the NBA. If you guys into video games like me, or NBA 2K25 will be coming with their rollout soon. I think they already got their ads up for the summer league, so probably be something coming real soon as far as that cover athlete first, or some news. I'm thinking it's going to be Shai Gilgeous on the cover. He was in the commercials. So was Donovan Mitchell. So who knows? I mean, it could be Wembanyama. Could be Tatum. Could be Anthony Edwards. I think somewhere in there. If it's not one of those, I would be kind of surprised. Unless it's Jokic too. But I just see it being. I'm really leaning Shai Gilgeous. Just put my money him, Ant-Man, or even though Mitchell's in the commercial, that could be a little misdirection. But yeah, I'll go with those two, or and Wembanyama. They could just go early on them. But and we'll see how that game is when it comes out. Hope they change up play now online a little bit. I mean, I'm no spring chicken. I like to play with the real teams. I'm not into my team or my player stuff. So in the park, I just want to play with the real teams and compete with somebody else on the other side of the internet. And I mean, get rid of the tiers, 2K. I mean, well, make it optional. Get us out of these mirror matches and just bring it back to where the teams who aren't so great can play against a lower level team sometimes, and not just have these certain matchups in tiers because you feel like it's uneven. I know they did that when Durant went to Golden State and they knew everybody would be picking the Warriors, so I guess to make that mode somewhat fun, but just open it back up and make it optional, because all people do is play with their desired team or their favorite team and just stay in the lower tier, and you still get a bunch of matchups against the Lakers. Now in tier 2 is you're almost playing Dallas all the time. When this year started, you were playing Phoenix most of the time, and just open it back up and do something about that shot meter and contest, because it's almost impossible to make a shot when it's contested. A jumper, it seems like. Well, I can't do it. I profess I'm not the best 2K player. I'm okay. I just enjoy it as a hobby from time to time. But I mean, green or miss, get rid of that. I mean, just makes it so shot time and base. I understand it, but if I'm in the ballpark and I'm got a good look at the shot, it should go in. I mean, professional guys who are on my level, we know when the shot feels good, but we just don't know for sure it's going in. And when you green, it's for sure going in, even though it's cool that your opponent doesn't know. But if you don't green it, it's not going in majority of the time, and that's not real basketball. But I understand it's a video game, and I'm not the part of the crowd y'all cater to. Those guys lobby for it who were complaining about if I have a perfect release, it should go in. So they lobby for it. They spoke loud, let it be known, voiced their opinion. So they should have it. But But yeah, so that's pretty much it, folks. We'll see if anything happens as far as free agency or any trades as the NBA offseason continues and winds down and pretty much becomes almost non-existent until late October, because it's almost football season and all of that. And hey, I mean, we got a little more time for football season. Don't rush your summer by because you want to see some football. Enjoy your summer. Cherish life. But that's all. Appreciate you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, to the All Basketball Podcast. Easy to find. If you haven't watched the 100th episode of the recap of the finals with me and some other guys, check that out. We'll greatly appreciate it. And until next time, I'm your host, Maurice Dixon of the All Basketball Podcast. Peace and be blessed in Jesus' name.